Hello all, my name is Rakesh Chandrashekar. I have a business as name RC. I have an overall industry experience of 15 years. Have been leading some of the project management, product management initiatives. Always been in and around data. I think most of us in the room are on a journey from data to analytics to AI, but different milestones. I think the destination is same. At some point in time, we will all reach there. So that's the intent, right? So we were trying to coin what is the topic for today, and whenever we speak about AI, I think one of the important points, or like an elephant in the room, is data. So, what better than a data-centric intelligence? I think your AI is as good as data. So that's where we termed, the point that, or a topic for today as rise of data-centric intelligence at GCCs. So before getting into topic, couple of thanks. Thanks to 3AI, thanks to Delta Capita for this opportunity. Delta Capita is a consulting firm. Globally, we are 1,500 plus consultants, niche into financial services. We have our own products. By the way, it's not a sales pitch. Getting on to the topic straight away. Great. So let's take a quick look at how GCCs over the years have been successful in addressing some of the data challenges, right? And I think this is where, we are in a phase where the journey is already had begun probably, good 7-8 years back. And then we are now in a stage where we can, take this forward. So some of the common data challenges that GCCs are, mastered their art in solving are, like, let's talk about some of these: availability, quality, and then from silos to master data sources, right? Or the golden source. A quick example here can be that, let's talk about availability, where some of the SMEs might have their knowledge just in their brain or, locally stored in their systems. The data is not, has gone into any sort of a company record or anything. So we don't even have a data created there. So that's a challenge. Another challenge could be that there are lack of controls in a process where, garbage in, garbage out. So there are chances that garbage has gone into data, which means to say there is a data quality concern that has creeped in. Another, classic challenge in today's world is there are silos where the systems are not talking to each other. It could be because of different strategies of leaders or different, ways in which it's been implemented so far that, the datas are not talking to each other, and hence there's a lack of getting one master data source. So these are like some of the challenges that GCCs have mastered, solving it over the years now. And we have also resulted into a phase of coming up with classic data models where, these data models are now interlocked, meaning to say, data models can be reviewed to figure out, am I going to give an insight of this data, or are we planning to do, let's say, an AI implementation and start looking into the future and come out with, various probabilities using that data. So that's where the data model or a phase where all majority of the GCCs have reached. And this is, where we think the data value chain has started, coming into effect in the GCCs, right? So right from mastering the data challenges to reach a phase where majority of these problems are solved, and then any new challenges in the same domain, we are the masters there and we can go ahead and solve it. So that's how it is looking right now. Now, if GCCs have mastered it, let's also look at how GCCs have gone ahead and mastered it, right? So that's also important to know the how aspect of it. So the how aspect, I think we have been hearing to this a lot, and then this is something that, and by the way, you are going to hear a lot of obvious things today. So if you hear a lot of obvious things, which means that we are talking sense, right? So in a case where, let's say, the how of the problem solved from a data standpoint is, the GCCs have now become more of a talent arbitrage compared to a cost arbitrage. So that's very clearly seen in whichever client discussions that we are part of. So that's the point number one. And secondly, if you look at, earlier we used to have probably different priorities for a business head and a technology head, and now we start seeing the convergence of all of that into a common roadmap of a common pool of budget and common sort of problem statement that both the leaders are sort of working to solve it. So that's a very classic case of a business tech partnership that's happening right down in the GCCs. And the point number 3, I think we are all, someone in the financial services will quickly, echo to this, is risk mitigation is number 1. So compliance and governance by default has been one of our key USPs, and we continue to do that in the landscape of GCCs. And someone opening a GCC in India means that by default they're going to get a USP of cost and scalability. I mean, it's a given advantage. Not going to sell too much about it, but I think this also becomes a part and parcel of your overall offering that whenever a GCC is out here. So now that we know, GCCs have over the years solved the challenge of data, and then we know how they have mastered it. And I think the important aspect to know is AI the solution for every data challenge? And then that is the important question to ask ourselves whenever we are in front of a challenge, right? So that is where we come to this decision point. The decision point is very clear. So when you have the master data ready, you then have to think, is the data ready, and do you really, is use case supporting your AI journey or not? If it's a happy path, please proceed. But if you think the data is almost there, and maybe you need probably another quarter to a couple of quarters to solve your data challenges, to get to a place where you can literally interlock your data models, work on it, make it to a path to green, and then try and get into your AI journey. And if you think there are better solutions which are non-AI, much more effective, and or if the data itself is not into a phase where you are able to get into a phase of solutioning, then do not even reinvent the wheel. So please drop the plan and then think of something better as a solution there. So we know a decision point, and then now let's look at some of the solutioning aspects of how a data challenge can be looked into. Let me start with a conventional approach of a non-AI. Some of the ones which are still relevant and I think will be continuing to be relevant is your low-code, no-code automations. I think some of them might not require a classic AI to solve your problem. Even a low-code, no-code solution, an RPA solution is still valid. We should not discount that in our discussions of AI hype. So we should really also stay a close look into that aspect as well. But if let's say we really want to get into the AI aspects of it, the common top 3 themes, if you look at predictive AI, mostly used in forecasting use cases. You use historical data, start predicting future, introduce various combinations of what all possibilities can go wrong, superimposing those exceptions. And then generative AI, wherever you have a bit of creative challenges or you want a creative solution, a combination of both. And then agentic AI is where you probably have a risk mitigated process. It doesn't have any risk at all. And then you're very confident that your agentic or a robo or a autonomous agent can literally take care of your end-to-end solution without any human intervention. Those are the classic use cases where you can look at. Now, this is a theory. Let's look at a bit of industry trend of AI in the industry and where we think maybe for next 3 to 5 years, again from a GCC's landscape, right? So classic use cases like we really see either a POC or in an implementation stages where contract management, customer lifecycle onboarding, or a CLM, customer lifecycle management and a client onboarding, and then treasury. These are the areas where heavily the POCs were already done and maybe they are in a phase of a quicker AI adoption. So, and this is where we probably think that the next 3 to 5 years are going to be interesting in this area. There are a lot of, GCCs, they are doing it in their own way, and there are quite a bit of competitive products in the market as well. Let's also look at some of the other niche offerings also, which is about customer insights. And I think all of us using apps, we get a lot of nudges, we get a lot of prompts. And I think all of these are at the back of an AI in the game. So customer insights, customer acquisition, all of this has a bigger say in the AI landscape if you look at. And another point to call out, I think not getting into details of Gen AI, right? I think there are chances about or exploration about, not chance, the exploration is already there, right? So about finding out alternative products in capital markets using some of these new age technologies. It could be about blockchain as well. So that's also the pivotal shift that we are seeing in the industry. Another point I think we are all hearing today is the regulatory shift and from a responsible AI. Just a side note here, Delta Capita has also signed the European Union AI Pact and Act. So that's also something that to call out. The companies are shifting towards much more responsible AI. The exploration is on, but the guidance is something that they are looking at more like a handrails to look into or use handrails and then reduce risk and then look at AI. These are some of the areas, and of course there are workflow automations, and those are the natural workflows that we look at, some of the efficiency achievements in our day-to-day jobs and all of that, right? So that will continue to happen as well. So high level, we think these are the areas where we saw how data challenges were solved. We saw how it was, how it was solved, and then we are also looking at some patterns of, some of the possible AIs. AI, themes, and then in the industry, how these themes are playing around, and then if you are, part of some of the organizations, and I'm sure you would have already heard some of this, and then, like I said, it's an obvious conversation, and these are the ways in which the industry is looking at. With that, when we termed the DCI, Data-Centric Intelligence, at Delta Capita, it's a day job that we innovate. Coincidentally, DCI is synced. So at that, I would like to conclude my, this topic for today, and then pleasure talking to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.